guess the obvious is, what's the latest injury front,
Yep.
if you can share any of that?
Preston is in the concussion protocol. He's doing better. He's at least, as a person, he's healthy and going to be fine. It's just day to day on that protocol piece that's out of our control. So, we may not know till Friday, day of the game, if he's available. But Kevin's ready. He's taking the reps this week in practice. I think we've seen what Kevin can do when he gets in there. So we feel good if we have them both, and we feel good if we just have Kevin. The unfortunate bad news is Jordan Curley has a torn ACL, so his season's over, and technically his career's over, but we'll see what can happen there maybe. But just unfortunate, he's blocking non-contact injury on the turf, and that stuff happens on turf, unfortunately. And but he's got a great attitude, and he'll be with the team, but unfortunately he won't be able to play anymore. So I think those are the main guys. Smoke, Jalen Davis-Robinson is on track to be back this week after missing last week. And then P.J. Williams will be out. He got a concussion, and he is not far enough along to even have a chance to be ready. So he'll still be trying to get ready for next week maybe. We'll see. Anyone else? Logan, his back's just been bothering him all year. There's nothing that, he got hurt kind of towards the end of the game. It's nothing structural. It's just more of like, if I'm an O-lineman this time of year and everything hurts. So, hopefully he'll be available on Friday.
How kind of reassuring is it? I mean, I know that Kevin came in a little bit last season when you guys had injuries, but this season you've had the benefit of when you've been so far ahead to be able to go plug him in. How beneficial is getting him that experience and then getting to take over?
I think it's huge. I mean, last year he got to come in against Tulsa and play over a half of meaningful football, and then last year the drive against Memphis. So those moments prepared him for this year because that was an important drive, and he had 2 big third down conversions and did some really good stuff. So I think it's good because when you put him at the end of games, you want to let him go run the offense, but you're also in that scenario where, how much do you throw it? How quickly can you get out of there? So it was good. He's done it in the past, but it was good for him to do it this year, especially if he's got to play Friday or in these last few weeks. But we've been fortunate. Last year we felt with Tanner and Preston, we had 2 guys who could start and win games for us, and we feel the same way about Preston and Kevin this year. So I know our coaching staff and our team has just a ton of confidence in Kevin.
Just piggybacking off that Tulsa game, it was a similar situation with Tanner and Preston.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help going through that once to kind of know what you got to do in practice and some of those things? Yeah,
I mean, experience is the most helpful thing. So going through that last year, Tanner was the same way. We got to game day, he went out and he wasn't cleared, and so Preston started. We're in a similar situation this week, so we'll see how it goes the next 48 hours. But definitely helps us how to prepare for not knowing which one will or be able to go and all that. And it also helps in both cases a little bit later in the year. So you feel like, your starters played enough ball to, in some cases it may help rest their body a little bit. And then your backup, it's kind of time for him to get more reps anyway. So it kind of works itself out.
Does North Texas feel like a measuring stick game for y'all, considering they played Tulane, UTSA, Memphis, all in like the last 4 weeks?
No, and I don't mean that to sound bad or disrespectful. No, I mean, I think North Texas is an important game for us because it's our next game and they're really good. Eric's done a great job. You see what they have done the last 3 weeks against 3 of the better teams in our league. They've been in 1-score games and had a chance to win all 3 of them. They've moved the ball and scored a lot of points against all 3 of them, which are 3 of the better defenses in our league. And their defense is playing well enough to give them a chance to win. And they're the best special teams in our league. So that's been a huge advantage for them. So it doesn't matter. Tulane beat East Carolina 13-10. We beat them 31-10. Nobody cares. Like, that doesn't have any bearing on the next game. All that matters this time of year is, do you find a way to win? And so that doesn't have any bearing on a measuring stick for us. We're gonna have to play really well to win on Friday night, and that's our goal.
UNT is a team that's been, most of those close games it's really happened in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
They've been down early and they've really been able to, regardless of how many points you're down, they've been able to pull back into it. How do you kind of prepare the players? How do you guys go about that mentally, where hey, maybe won't be a lead that's too
similar to what Rice had been doing to people, and you saw how they did it last week. There were several times it looked like we were about to pull away, and then the next thing you know, it's a tight game again. And look, North Texas is so explosive on offense. They can run it, they can throw it. They got a big time quarterback, great receiving core. They can really run the football. They're really never out of it, and so I think I don't know what happened each of those games other than watching it on film, So whether the other team let up, whether they just bear down, maybe they figure something out. But they're so good on offense, you're not going to hold them down for 4 quarters. So if they start out hot, you got to hope you can slow them down later. And if they start out slow, they're going to find a way to score points. Like, they're just too good on offense to hold down for 4 quarters. So we got to play a full 4-quarter game, and it's going to be a good challenge to win.
What do you see defensively from UNT?
Yeah, well, they're in year 1 with the new coordinator, a new system. They play the kind of the robber defense that Tulsa had played forever, TCU now plays, Iowa State plays, and so it has its own unique challenges. I think that's why they're figuring out maybe some things to stop the run still, but in terms of the passing game, I think that 8 interceptions. It can really confuse your quarterback when you add that extra player who's a free hitter in the run game, but also always a free cover guy in the middle of the field in the pass game, and they can give you a bunch of different looks. And so that defense is always a challenge for offenses, and I think that's obviously why they run it. So,
I know Preston feels pretty comfortable with all the receivers feel pretty comfortable with him. With Kevin coming in, does maybe the rotation shrink a little bit, or do you just say, this is how we're playing, go quarterback this team?
No, good. No, with Curley now being out, you kind of have a 6-man instead of a 7-man rotation. But you'll have Keyshawn and Jordan, you'll have Moochie and Mello, and you still got Jake and Junior, and then you got RJ. So the same guys will play. Kevin throws to those guys every day, all fall camp, all summer, just like Preston. You kind of have your top 2 guys throw to the top guys in practice the most, and usually your 3rd and 4th guy throw to more the younger, the freshman guys. So Kevin's got, I think, good rapport with those guys, especially in fall camp. But in games the other night, you saw him made the nice throw to Romello. I don't think that'll be a concern of ours.
Having Kevin on campus now for almost 2 full seasons, what are some of the differences between him and Preston, and just kind of what do you see in Kevin?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities, and I don't think you have to change your offense a lot. Both can run the ball. They're both different. Kevin can really go. Like, Kevin's got a burst, a quicker first step. So he pulls something like he is sudden, whereas Preston's a make guys miss in space, has a good feel for running and setting people up, and they both run with great confidence. Kevin, he gets the ball out really quick, and it's got a lot of heat on it. He doesn't have a change up. He's kind of a Nolan Ryan, if you want it to be. So, but you can see the arm talent. He can make throws all different ways. So, they're different, but they can all execute. They can both execute what we do at a good level. And so, we don't feel like we have to change who we are. We got a lot of confidence in Kevin. And I think 2 years, to your point, in the same system, he has confidence in what we do.
SMU versus North Texas, the game played intermittently for like 100 years now, and future's uncertain with it. Do you have any thoughts about that game and this game coming up?
Not really. I think their move to the American is going to really help the program long term. I think it was a good move for them. I think Eric's a really good ball coach. I think he's a great fit. I think he's already shown what they've been able to improve on things this year. I think he's going to take them to good places. I don't even know if it was 10 years ago whenever we started playing them, kind of more of a non-conference home and home. And then obviously they come into the league. There's nothing on the horizon. It's not, it's obviously we're both in the Metroplex, so it makes sense in some areas, but I don't have any reason to believe we're going to play them every year moving forward, but we're also not opposed to playing them if it ever works out that way either.
Coach, your defense definitely had a tougher game this last week. What are kind of the positives of that, and how they kind of responded this week?
Well, it's weird because if you statistically look at it, they still played really well. Held them to under 300 yards. They were throwing for that alone. Had the 3 turnovers, had the 4 or 5 sacks. I think in the first half only gave up 7 first downs. We did a lot of things well. We put our defense in bad spots. We gave them 7 points on special teams. We gave them the ball at the 30-yard line again, which is tough. We fumbled the ball at midfield on offense. So we put them in some tough spots. And then we had 2 drives. We let them go down and score. And we didn't tackle the way we had tackled probably most of the year. And I think that was the number one thing that we did better in the second half, but we got to get back to tackling how we've been tackling. But our guys played hard. They were disruptive. I think they were 2 of 12 on third downs. We did a lot of things well, and I think we did a lot of things, especially in the first half on teams, to allow it to kind of give them some confidence. So I still think we're playing at a high level on defense, but we're going to have to Friday night.
with that, Elijah Roberts just seems like he continues to build into just a beast on out there. What have you seen from his development, going from a guy who didn't necessarily pay a ton to kind of dominating?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when he came here, we felt good about that he would help us, and then after spring, we knew right then he's going to have a chance to be one of our better players. And I think the thing about Elijah is he's earned it. I mean, we got a lot of guys that work hard and play hard, but he works and prepares and plays as hard as any of them every day. He doesn't take a day off. He doesn't take a rep off, and you see it on the game field. And I think the great thing for him is that we have a lot of guys making plays in the D-line, so it's not like you can slide a protection to one guy because you've got Nelson Paul and you've got Isaiah Smith and you've got Cam and you've got Jalen Samuels, and then inside you've got, you know, Echat and those guys in DeVere. So it's like, I think he's just getting better and better with confidence each week. And, you know, a lot of times most of those guys are one-on-one blocked and they're doing a nice job of winning. But I think we felt after the spring and for sure after fall camp that he could have this type of impact.
And then just with the running game, obviously North Texas has struggled a little bit. You have Kevin making his first career start. Does that make it even more important to get the running
You're
game
assuming
going?
Kevin's starting. I like that.
If Kevin,
sorry. Just curious.
gets the start.
All right. I mean, I think the run game is important. That's why we focused on it. I think you've seen, while we're still a little better but like we've controlled games better because of our running game this year than we probably did a year ago. And so I think it's huge in this game in general. They've got a really good offense. That has been something that they're susceptible to on defense. But, you know, North Texas is going to come in and do what they do. That's why they're improving and getting better and playing really well. We're going to do what we do. It's just going to be who does it better. The run game is important this week because of how they are, but I feel like it's kind of important every week. And, again, it's not like if Kevin's in there that we feel like it's a guy we got to protect. Like, if he's in there, we're going to trust him to run the game plan and go win the game, just like we would Preston.
Coach, the Memphis game that they played, after kind of watching that back, is there a point where North Texas is ever out of it, or that kind of proved that no matter how many points you put up, your defense is going
No, I don't think they're ever out of it. I mean, they're just too explosive. You saw how they did that, and they came down, they went down and scored with like 50 seconds left, and it looked like they were going to win the game. And so, again, QB's playing as good as anybody in our league, and he's really good. Like, he's really accurate. He can throw the deep ball. He gets out of his hands quick. He can run. He's in total command of what they're doing. And that's why their offense is playing with so much confidence. And Macklin's a stud, but, I mean, all the receivers are good. And then they got two running backs that, you know, I mean, their starters averaging like 7 yards a carry. That's crazy. So, no, they're explosive, and you can never relax. You know, if you're fortunate to contain them for a while, you can't relax because they can explode. I mean, they scored 28 in the third quarter against Tulane, I think. 21 or 28, like 300 yards or something in one quarter. That's scary.